when Steve and Sierra were in front of me, and I said, "Oh my God, there's these huge blood spots."
Oh.
And I said, "Look at there's blood spots," and he's like, "No, it's Georgia Red Clay." And I said, "No, this is definitely blood. Somebody's bleeding. Are they hurt? Who's hurt?" And I'm looking around, going, "It looks like fresh blood. It's wet and it's huge.
It's wet,
And
it looks like fresh blood.
no, it did. I was like, I'm looking around, saying, "Did the person? Are they hurt? I mean, there was guys working in the neighborhood." And finally, Steve says, "Oh my God, Sierra's bleeding."
Yeah, she had the sun. We were walking to the west, and the sun was setting, and it was blinding. And Sierra was blinded. I was blinded, and she missed a curb, and she hit her mouth on a curb, and I guess she was bleeding, and it stopped in a little while.
Oh, but it was quite a trail.
It was dripping. Had me surprised too.
Actually, Steve didn't see it because I was behind him, and there were the biggest blood spots, and I was like,
and
I didn't know it was that.
I kind of went to look at her face, and she got blood on my sleeve, but she won't let me look at her when she's walking. She just wants to walk.
But right after that, it stopped. As soon as I said that, I don't know what she did. Did she shut her mouth? I mean, I was flipped out. I was like, to see blood like that.
Dogs stop bleeding pretty quick as long as it's not a huge gash.
It was a pretty long trail because when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. But then I said, that looks like blood. It's bright red. It's fresh. And there was nobody around.
Yeah.
There was nobody around.
And Sierra doesn't usually complain, or she won't like look at you or let you take a picture of her face or anything like that. She's very private. But then after the walk, I was telling her what a good girl she was, and she actually kissed me, and she hasn't done that in years. So I think she's competing with Sammi, because Sammi always gives kisses, and I think Sierra sees that, and she's competing.
Yeah, Sierra's always been a little cold, and she has given more kisses since we've gotten Sammi. I mean, she's been aloof, and now with Sammi, and she sees what Sammi does and gets attention. That's what she's doing. Well, I made a video of when we first got Sierra, and I researched it for quite a while and learned things I had never known before. And there was a vet or doctor who worked with border collies, and she said she believes they're autistic, so they have the personalities of an autistic, like an autistic person, somebody on the spectrum, that they don't like people. And Sierra never really cared for people, although border collies are listed as a good family dog. Sierra's always been a little bit distant. She always preferred to be by herself than to be with other people. Oh, and then, we actually ran into 2 dogs unleashed, and the people were just like so nonchalant, and we're like pulled to the side, and the dog kept getting closer and closer and closer, and then Steve's like, he's like, "My dog isn't friendly." And they're like, "What?" Sierra had been bitten by unleashed dogs at least 2 times, and she had to get sutures, and she hates dogs now, and she will bite back. And I don't think she's never broken skin. She's never hurt anyone. But it's a law. It's a law in Georgia to
have your dog on a leash, and it always gets kind of scary, because when Sierra crouches down, she's getting ready to attack. Remember, she's a border collie, so she's used to herding, and that's her way of kind of saying, "Look, I'm not comfortable here."
But when she herds, she doesn't.
She might bite their ankles.
She doesn't bite where you break.
You don't break the skin.
She's like nipping and pushing and hurting.
Yeah, when she herds cows.
But in this situation, when the dog is coming at her, it was a little aggressive. It was coming, wouldn't stop. It kept coming, and the owner didn't make any effort to get her dog.
Yeah.
And it was a tight area. It was a tight spot on the trail. And I was like, seriously? And she had 2 dogs.
Yeah, and I kind of said to the dog, stop, stop. And what I would do if the dog took another step is I'd stomp my foot in front of her. And that loud noise, they usually stop, or it scares them. But luckily, the owner kind of woke up, and, I said that Sierra doesn't like dogs. And she's like, "Really? She doesn't like dogs?" And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. How can you assume that another dog is going to like your dog. I mean, there might be some vicious fight that dogs are going to get hurt. And, I don't want to be in the middle of that.
Yeah,
we're on a peaceful walk.
Well, we actually walk this, most days, and there's some other dogs, and then they look like border collies, but what are they? I don't know what they are. Aussies or
yeah, Australian Shepherds.
One's an Australian Shepherd, one is a border collie, and those dogs are a little aggressive, and we go separate ways. We know to respect each other, and we see each other almost.
Yeah, we walk the other way,
and they walk the other way.
It was strange because earlier on we walked right past the deer, and the deer just looked at us and didn't come towards us or run away. The deer just watched us walk by.
Well, deer aren't aggressive, right?
Well, they're not aggressive, but something will run out in front of your car.
Yeah. Well, they're probably chasing. It's probably mating season when they do that, right? Isn't it mating season when they're usually running in front of cars?
I don't know.
Like November to January or something.
I don't
know. But I just thought, okay, everybody loves dogs. Everybody has pictures of their dog. They dress up their dogs. They put their dogs in areas where it says have a leash, and they think, but my dog's special. My dog's trained. My dog's good, and they take them off the leash. And I don't know. For us, that's kind of our pet peeve.
Yeah, and I also didn't like that there was dog poop on the trail that wasn't clean.
That came from probably that dog because it was when we walked where they were just there was dog poop. So,
mostly everyone picks up dog poop in a plastic bag or something, and there's poop on the trail, and I think that's disgusting.
Oh yeah, that is very disgusting. We've never left poop. Even one time when I didn't have a bag, I went home and got a bag and came back and picked it up because that's just irresponsible. That gives a bad name to all dog owners.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a dog, please be responsible.
And leave them on the leash because you never do know what's going to happen, and you could get bitten, the dog could get bitten. And those vet bills, they're going to be in the thousands. They're going to be in the thousands.
Don't think that the dog needs more freedom. The dog has plenty of freedom. And if you want the dog to run, take him in your backyard.
The dog park.
Take him to a dog
park.
Yeah, take him to a dog park. But don't let him free on a public trail that people are walking on.
Yeah, in this neighborhood, most of the people who live there are afraid of dogs, so there's not a lot of dogs in there, but most are afraid. So when we see somebody coming, we get off the trail because we know they're afraid. We pull the dogs
We get on the side and stand there.
We get in the street.
Or get in the street and
respect that they're afraid of dogs.
Right.
And we don't force our dogs on them. If people stop and ask, can I pet your dog or touch them? Then we'll let them, but we're going to be respectful of their fear of dogs. So because Sierra has gotten, in our last neighborhood, she got attacked by 2 different animals and had to get sutures. And, I got to where I was afraid to even walk her. I barely ever walked her. But this neighborhood didn't have a lot of dogs, but there's getting more and more dogs in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So
as they're unleashed, it gets scary. So.
Yep. Anyway,
so
it was a good day.
Good day, and
it was exciting.
I know,
full of events.
Well, some people would say we have a pretty boring life, and we think boring's good, right?
Yeah.
We think boring's good because if it's we don't need the excitement of whatever. I mean, you slow down as you age, and you just enjoy the simple things.
That's true.
That's
true.
In life.
That's right. Enjoy the scenery.
So hopefully we won't get hit too hard with the snow this weekend. We're all expecting snow. And, of course, this will be showing by the weekend, and we're just hoping there's not a lot. Sammy wanted to give an update to yesterday's video. Right after we finished making the video, Steve saw on Wayfair that the exact same plates we just got from Belk for $90 were available for $61, one-day shipping, free shipping, and we ordered those. So now we're going to take back the ones from Belk. I mean, that's $29 savings. That's pretty substantial. That's what, 50% savings, or they're 50%. Well, they're not 50% lower. Being a math teacher, I should know this, right? They are 1/3 lower, but now they are only $61 instead of $90. Quite the deal. So, the second thing, Sammi loves sitting close to people. She's a people person. And she loves to give kisses and snuggles. Right, Sammy? Right, Sammy? So, the second thing we wanted to update was we never finished the story with the man at Barnes & Noble. He was a young man, so we didn't know what he wanted, why he left his basketball and phone while we were looking at the books in the entryway. So, after we finished shopping, we went back out, and he stopped us, and now, Steve was raised in the city of Philadelphia, so he's pretty abrupt with people, but it seemed like he was asking for money. I saw him hold up a piece of paper that was laminated that had big letters, HBC, and I think I heard him ask for money for a basketball game or something. I remember thinking in the back of my head, why does the paper say HBC, which stands for Historic Black College, and why doesn't it have the name of the college? I think he was saying, I'm playing basketball for an HBC, and I'm raising money for the basketball tournament. And in my head, it just had so many red flags because of his behavior going into the store. We were already highly suspicious, which you have to be in big cities, and you have to be as you age, because elderly people are vulnerable for lots of scams, phone and in-person scams. So I was thinking, why doesn't it say the name of the college, like Spelman or wherever college he goes to? Two, that's the first point. Second, if he's playing for a basketball team in a college, they're paying for the trip, for the tournament. They're not raising money. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If they raise money for tournaments, I've worked in high schools, and high schools pay. If high schools paid, I am sure colleges that make a lot of money off of these games pay for the bus, whatever it costs for that person to go to that basketball game. They're not going to say, okay, you're a star player. We won the whatever. We made it to the tournament. I don't follow sports at all, but we made it, but now you've got to raise money. I don't believe that is true, but this is the same thing that happened to us in Charleston a year and a half ago, where a man stood between the two booths at the market in downtown Charleston. He didn't have a booth and approached us for money. Now, what is scary about the whole thing is these people who are scammers generally work in teams. And he had a cell phone right there. So they text the person, call the person. They have an earpiece usually. They call the person in the parking lot, and that person will jump you. So if you pull out a wad of cash to give this man $5, they see how much money you have, and they tell the person in the parking lot to jump you to get the rest of the money. So it's always not safe at all, even if you want to give money. It's putting yourself in a vulnerable position as elderly people who are not as strong as these big basketball players. But I remember when I walked into the store, my first thought was, why the heck do you have a basketball with you? That was I'm like, there's no gym here, it's a mall. Why are you carrying a basketball to a mall? That was my first thought. So that was my first red flag. Then leaving his cell phone and basketball, and for quite a while. First of all, sitting there and staring at us while we were looking, and not asking for the money when we were looking at the books, but asking us as we're leaving. My instinct says that he didn't want us, if he had asked when we were going in, we would have complained. But he asked us going out, we're not likely to go back in and complain. It might put us in a vulnerable position that we get attacked in the parking lot or something. So he asked as we were leaving, not as we were going in, even though we were in there looking at books for several minutes. I'd say 2 to 4 minutes looking at those books as I was scrutinizing each one. And he never said a word then. So that was highly suspect. So if this was all on the up and up, why didn't you ask for money when we were going in? Why don't you have the name of the college? Just very, very suspicious. And I don't believe colleges would have you begging for money at storefronts. I believe if you are going to be asking for money, maybe it would be online, a fundraiser, GoFundMe or whatever, one of those fundraisers online. I don't think you'd be begging at storefronts. I don't know if he got any money, but again, we have to think safety as we age. The book I bought was on empathy. I empathize with so many people that I would tend to in the past perhaps maybe give money, but I don't feel comfortable pulling money out or even a credit card. There's so many credit card scams. In Georgia, you can't even mail a check anymore. They intercept the checks in the mail and they bleach them out, change the amount, and it affects all of your bills. And well, I haven't written a check in years really, except for a few companies that won't take anything but checks, which always bothers me. But now if I have to send money to my siblings, I say I can't send a check, it has to be Zelle, which has its own different risks. There's risks in everything. As an aging population, we have to watch out. The scammers are getting better and better every year. But you tell me, if you think this was legit, that a man is begging for money at Barnes & Noble for a basketball tournament, if you think that's a legit thing for a college to be doing, let me know, because I'd be very interested in finding out. And here's Sammi. Sammi, she's so happy in the video. She's barking yesterday as we were trying. She's so happy being in my arms and making some video. She was barking yesterday. She was upset we didn't include her in the video. So check out some of our other videos. We have so many other videos on our life, which is not really exciting, just the aging life. But boring is good. Boring is good means that you're not getting into a lot of trouble. Till we see you again. So until we see you again,
take it easy.
Tall buildings, as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine.